sometimes we do get people coming in and saying, you know, I've been signed off work for 6 weeks and then I've got a meeting about whether I'm ready to come back. And it's almost putting the onus on that person then and saying, you've got 6 weeks to get better, or else kind of for us, we might keep you on, something might happen. And I think it's a much better way of addressing it and kind of saying, you know, if someone said I'm struggling, and saying, well, what is going to help? You know, is 6 weeks off going to be helpful for you? Is there something else that we can do kind of together with you to make that kind of work? Because you're making it a shared difficulty then. You're not kind of putting the onus on someone to say, this is your stuff, you need to fix it. It's more kind of saying, you know, what support can we have in place around you? What can we keep going? And how can we make that work?
I think there needs to be as I said at the start, if we have the same process, we have the same outcome. So if we're not putting like bi-weekly forums in place to sit down and say this, we're having an open forum. Each workplace has to have a mental health champion. I don't like the word mental health champion, but that's another story for another day. Each person has to have a mental health first aider, you know, and be able to have an open forum.
And I think it's just about making it normal to talk about as well. You know, having people like mental health first aiders, mental health champions, people at the kind of lower levels where you don't have to feel like you're causing a big hassle going to someone much higher up and kind of saying, I'm really not sure what I'm doing. Like you say, kind of keeping it as low as kind of feels comfortable, but then scaling it up if you need to, because for many people you do need that kind of extra level of support and there's extra things put in place.
Most places have one-on-ones with the line manager to say how you're doing, you know, a personal development to say this is where we are, why aren't in each workplace having people in the workplace to say one-on-ones once a month, where are you? Yeah. You know, and maybe there needs to be one more person, because if I turn around and I say I'm not actually comfortable talking to Ian, you know, so maybe we have a selection of people that he can talk to.
It very much helps people kind of feel better in themselves if they don't have that pressure on getting better, because if that's a part of it, that can become part of their depression. You know, I'm a burden on my employers, or I'm worthless to this company. It becomes a big part of how they identify with themselves. And actually knowing that there is that support network at work, as well as through things like the NHS and friends and kind of families, is what can help people really get the most out of therapy, because it takes something off their mind. You know, it takes that pressure out.
There needs to be a system in place, so you don't have to go to the mental health champion straight away, because maybe we can deal with it here. It's like, if I cut my finger, I don't go to a neurosurgeon, okay? I maybe go to a first aider and he's got to put a plaster on it, okay? But that's the process for me. There should be a pyramid, a setup in every business where we go, we've got a mental health champion, we've got these people below, and there just be an awareness piece. There should be continuous staff training, we call it CPD in the armed forces, continuous professional development, where monthly they talk about, this is chimp management, this is emotional intelligence, this is, I've got a black dog.
We talk about if you're the person with a mental health issue, it's hard enough to talk. But if you're a line manager of somebody, that's really difficult. Where do you start? We would say that, wouldn't we? Because we provide mental health training. But why do we do that? Well, because we think it's really important. Mm-hmm. And it's a great, I think, Chris, you talked about 1 in 10. Well, you know, the reality is that 1 in 4 people will have a mental health issue. So if you're an employer, actually skilling up your line managers all the way through, so that actually they know what to do, they can intervene, they can encourage people to talk about it, they know where to signpost people. I think that is a really important thing that organisations can do.
And I always think about when you're doing staff training and stuff like that, I always say it's a 10%er, because 90% of the people in the room, you just go, oh, it's fine. But that 10% of that one person that it hits, it's going to help.
When I talk to them and I'm training employers, I get the phone call all the time, right, how do we fix this? And I said, well, the first problem is you don't. You're looking at how you quickly do something. It takes time. There's processes to follow. But one of the other things that I try and say is, what I want to do from this course, what I want to happen is I want to give you the confidence to ask the next question. The confidence to not just shy away because you don't know what you're going to say. I want to give you the confidence to say, okay, I'm glad you told me this. tell me about it, explain it, describe it. This is what we're going to do. Because that's the biggest thing. It's that no man's land of being told something and then going, oh my God, what if I do something wrong and HR drop a brick on me because I've not applied the procedure? Oh my God. That's the key thing to all of this. Education, knowledge.